All right, wholesaling vacant land is game changing and it is life changing. It will give you so much financial freedom, so much time freedom, and even geography freedom. In this video, I'm gonna be teaching you step by step on how to wholesale raw vacant land. All right guys, welcome back to my channel. This is where I'm showing you how to wholesale raw vacant land. I'm gonna give you 8 steps today, and I'm also gonna give you some free resources, the exact tools that I use every single day in my business. I'm just so happy that you don't have to do it like I did. Back in 2015, 2016, I was kind of figuring this out as I was failing forward. You have to fail forward every single day to win in life, but you've got this channel, this episode to teach you exactly how to do it. And also smash that subscribe button while you're doing this process. It doesn't take any time. It's that red button that says subscribe, and let's go. Let's get into step number 1, and that is picking your playground. That's the area that you're currently in. I like to say, go where you're planted. You're already in the area and there's already vacant land all around you. Now, you might have to push out a little bit. Maybe you're in a crazy hot area like Phoenix, Arizona, no pun intended. Or maybe you're in just an area like Washington, D.C. or Virginia that's kind of densely populated. Well, don't be afraid to go out just a little further. I recommend doing about a 2 to 2.5 hour radius if possible, if need be. Because in the very beginning, some of the parcels of land that I was purchasing were an hour and a half away from my home, 2 hours away sometimes, and I would have to drive to this land on weekends, and that's okay. It's just a Saturday. I used to bring my wife and my newborn baby out with me on these runs, and we just make it a family trip. We'd usually have lunch or breakfast or something, get some coffees on the way, make this a pleasurable experience, because it's not about suffering as we grow, it's about growing as we enjoy our lives. It's all about the journey. One day, have 310 land deals behind you or in your belt. You want to make sure it was a pleasurable experience. So that first step was picking your playground. Number 2, we have to get a list of landowners to communicate with. And I'm going to give you that list very easily right here. And it's one of the resources that I use every single day in my business. And that is priced.com/landsharks. And that's spelled PRYCD.com/the land sharks. And it's on the screen. It's also below in the description. But this is exactly where you can go to get a list of landowners in your county. And what's really cool is they show you the estimated value of the current land the way it is. Number three is we got to communicate with this list. And the best way to communicate with the list is by sending them a postcard. And that postcard is very simple. It just says, hey, Mr. and Mrs. or Mr. Johnson or Mrs. Johnson, I'd like to purchase your land for a fair price. If you're interested, give me a call or text me if you want to get an all cash offer. The postcard is very simple, and I'm going to give you the exact link that you can go to get this postcard. It's for free. I'm only going to ask for your name and your email, and you put it in there, and we're going to send you the postcard. And that is by going to the link, thelandsharks.com/postcard. All right, hang in with me. We're still on step number 3, and that is communicating with this list. Once you've sent them the postcard, wait 3 to 9 days, and you should start receiving phone calls. Now, I don't like to put my personal cell phone number on these. I like to buy like a $3 number from CallRail or maybe a Google Voice number. But here's the key, guys. You gotta answer the call, and if you can't answer the call, at least text back or return the voicemail as soon as possible. Sometimes it's seconds, not minutes. If they're motivated, if they're ready to go, you've got the fire started, and they might call someone else really quickly. So I want you returning that call quickly. But what do you say to them? Like, you might be thinking like, Brent, what in the world do I even talk to these people about when they call? Well, I'm going to give you another free gift today. And this is something that me and my team have come up with. We've tested it and tried it for over 310 parcels of land. And this list can be found at thelandsharks.com/script, as in a script that you can talk to your sellers about. But here's one key. I want you to learn this script. I want you to internalize this script, and I want you to ultimately make it your own and listen. Level 5 listeners, something I learned from Sean Callaghan over at Unblinded, is level 5 listening. Let me just give you a quick definition of level 5 listening. That is listening with no intention to speak or put your agenda. You want to listen to what your seller is saying, what your landowner is saying, and understand them. Make sure they feel seen, heard, felt, and understood. We want them to feel understood, and then we want to acknowledge what they just said by level 5 listening, and why in the world would they even be selling this parcel of land. And this script will have questions like, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, it sounds like a great piece of property or a great piece of land. Why would you ever consider selling it? And then listen and take notes and understand why they consider selling it. And then you're also going to ask like, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, what do you think the land is worth? And then how did you come up with that? And then, oh, by the way, and it's okay to stumble or stutter on your script because it makes you human. You don't want to sound like you're just a talking robot, like reading from an actual script, just kind of like I am on this video. It's completely just free balling right now. Like I'm not reading a script, and that's why it makes it more authentic and original. And like we make mistakes and I stutter and slur and spit sometimes. And it's okay for you to do that too because you're just on the phone so that the spit won't reach the other side. But just understand like you're gonna make mistakes and just learn the script. And the best way to do it is by communicating it with real sellers of real land. All right, step number 4 is get that property under contract. And I don't like to say contract in front of the sellers. I like to say purchase agreement because I wanna keep painting that picture in their mind. And one of the questions I like to ask when I'm talking about the purchase agreement is, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, one thing I forgot we haven't talked about yet is how do you want to receive your money? Is it a wire or a check? Like how do you prefer to be paid by the title company? Because I always want to keep painting that picture of the ultimate goal of me buying this land and them getting paid so they can keep that in their mind. And you might be thinking, oh, Brent, I don't want to say that because I don't have money, but just come on. Stay with me in this video. I'm going to show you how to find all the money you'll ever need to purchase properties with. All right, I'm going to give you my purchase agreement that I use every single day, and I've raked in tens of millions of dollars of properties with this purchase agreement. But you got to make one promise to me, and that is to have your real estate attorney take a look at it and make sure it's legal in the state that you're in. But before I do it, I'm gonna ask for one little small payment, and that is to go to that red button that says subscribe and click that button and make sure all notifications are turned on to all so you can see every time I come out with one of these videos. I come out with them 5 days a week. So I hope you've subscribed by now, and I'm gonna go ahead and give you my commitment and follow through with the commitment I just made to you to give you my purchase agreement, but hopefully you've kept yours as well. That small portion of a payment to subscribe to this channel. All right, head on over to thelandsharks.com/contract. It's on the screen, thelandsharks.com/contract, and that is yours today for free. And this contract is very special because you can assign this contract. You can sell this contract to a cash buyer, and that's one of the ways that you'll be able to accumulate money for every piece of land or every house or every apartment complex, any piece of property that you get at a discount, you will have cash buyers beating down your door to purchase. All right, number 5, you want to run your due diligence. You want to understand everything there is to know about this piece of raw vacant land before you wholesale it to your cash buyer. And I'm going to give you the exact due diligence checklist that we use every single day in my business, and that is thelandsharks.com/due diligence, or actually DD. It's thelandsharks.com/DD. Don't spell out due diligence, it's just DD. thelandsharks.com/DD. All right, step number 6. You want to market this contract everywhere. I want you putting it on Craigslist. And you might be like, what do I put on Craigslist? Put pictures of the property, explain the property, explain that your suggested purchase price is this much, you need to close by this date, and I want you talking about this piece of land like it's the most magnificent thing ever, and I want you to hand it over to someone on a silver platter, because here's the thing, you purchased this land at a discount, right? This is wholesaling vacant raw land, so you got to get it under contract at a discount so you can make a profit. At the end of the day, if we're buying something for $1 and it's worth $2 and we're selling it for $1.50, we made a 50-cent assignment fee. But let's do real world cool numbers. The land's worth $100,000. You got it under contract for $50,000. You find a cash buyer that wants a 40% discount, 40% off. So you're selling that land to a cash buyer for $60,000. You got it under contract with your purchase agreement for $50,000. The land's worth $100,000. You might be thinking, well, why would a seller want to ever sell me something at 50 cents on the dollar? Well, why do people take Rolexes to pawn shops? Why is there a pawn shop almost on every corner in these cities? It's because people sometimes need money fast, they need speed, they need convenience. All we are is a pawn shop for raw vacant land. All right, back to step number 6, and that is marketing your property everywhere. I talked about Craigslist. I want you to put this on Facebook buy-sell groups. Join all the buy-sell groups and talk about this property. If it's a Florida or an Arizona property, I want you putting it on Michigan buy-sell groups or Wisconsin buy-sell groups. You might think, why? Like, why would I put it way up there? Well, what's going on right now in the country right now? Like, as I'm filming this video, there is a snowstorm attacking them and just a assaulting these people. They're sitting in their house freezing and building fires and keeping their furnaces on and spending tons of money to heat their houses. And guess where they're probably dreaming they live right now? Some tropical or warm place like Arizona or Florida right now. So this is where I'm selling my Florida and my Arizona land to these people in Michigan and Wisconsin. So think about that. Market, market, market. We need to get our property everywhere. I want you to be omnipresent. And then next, I want you putting signs on this thing, like signs all around the property, signs at stop signs, signs at red lights, signs at on and off ramps, but know your city's codes. Like if they only allow you to put them out there Friday at noon to Monday at noon, then just follow the rules and do that then. So Facebook, Craigslist, signs. I love landcentury.com. I just had a student make a $50,000 assignment fee by putting a parcel of land that they found at a discount under contract, and they sold their contract by assigning that contract to a cash buyer, and they did this on landcentury.com. Your first ad is $15. So put your property everywhere. You got to think, you got to work like you've got a $10,000 paycheck coming your way, and if you don't work hard enough, fast enough, and smooth enough, like you're not going to get paid. And don't be afraid to go out there and make some mistakes. You're going to break some rules. You're going to aggravate some people. You're going to have some haters on Facebook. I call them trolls, because guess what? They have nothing else better to do. They're sitting in their house in Wisconsin. They're trying to keep themselves warm. They're spending tons of money. They're aggravated. They're depressed. They're not in sunny South Florida right now. So just understand the trolls are going to troll. Haters are going to hate. All right, step number 7 is get your cash buyer committed. This is the cash buyer you found off Craigslist or a sign or Facebook buy-sell groups or Land Century. Get them committed by having them fill out that assignment agreement. Now, granted, I'm going to fill it out for them. I want you to fill it out for them and then DocuSign it or scan it and email it to them or bring it to them, whatever, and have them sign their signature. That's saying that they're going to put an earnest money deposit down at the title company and they're going to purchase your contract for this much money. And I'm going to give you this exact assignment agreement that I use every single day in my business. But one more promise. You got to have your real estate attorney check it out. Make sure it's legal to use in the state you're in. Like for instance, Illinois, you can't use this unless you're a licensed real estate agent. So you might just have to buy the property and turn around and sell it really quickly. We call that a simultaneous closing or a double closing, or you just buy it and then market it, whatever. So just know there's other options. There's always other options. And if an attorney tells you no, ask them why. How can we change it? What can we do? There's got to be another way around. It's like, hey, if daddy tells me no, I'm going to ask mommy. That's it. It's just asking mommy or asking daddy. It's called the mommy-daddy game. Same thing with attorneys. If one tells you no, ask why. And if they don't explain it, find another attorney. They're a dime a dozen. All right, step number 8, and that is time to go to the title company. I call this celebration. We go, the seller gets paid, and then the buyer comes in right behind it. And I want you to separate these two. I want the seller to come in, and then 30 minutes later, the buyer comes in. I don't want these people sitting at the table together, because ultimately, the seller thinks they're selling it to me. And what I tell the seller is, I'm assigning this contract, but I don't get into all the details, because a confused mind never makes a decision. So you want to keep this super simple. Keep the eye of the prize in front of the seller and the eye of the prize in front of the buyer. Now, I don't ever lie. Like, I tell them exactly what's going on if they ask, and I'll explain as much as they like. But you want to be careful about trying to explain the entire process, because they're not out there educating themselves on these YouTube videos like you are. And they're not out there like buying properties. You got to remember, most of the time, these sellers have never ever sold a property before. So you want to keep things so simple for them and just get it done for them. So back to getting paid at the closing, the celebration. And I want you, once you get that check, I don't even care if it's for $1. You need to celebrate with your family, your spouse, take the dog on a walk, your children, and just celebrate this, because remember, they're the ones behind your success, and they're the ones, that's seeing you away and working so hard and learning all this stuff. So remember to take time to celebrate on each one of these deals. Guys, if you're interested in learning more about this, how I changed my life with this, buying and selling raw vacant land, wholesaling raw vacant land, it got me out of the military. I was in the military 8.5 years, and I was only home about 4 of those years to sleep in my own bed. I was always gone, always training, always deployed, always where someone told me to be at the time they told me to be there, wearing what they told me to wear. So if you too want to change your life like I so desperately needed to, head on over to thelandsharks.com. That's thelandsharks.com, and fill out a form. Schedule a call with me and my team. We'll see what your real estate investing goals are, and I promise you we're going to take such great care of you over at Wholesaling Inc. and the Land Sharks, because students come first.